This was the chaotic scene. Hundreds and hundreds of cars struggling through almost 2 feet of snow in Kentucky. And today we got word that a West Michigan woman was actually stranded right in the middle of it for hours. 24-hour News 8's Tom Hillen is in studio control right now with kind of a rough story for her, Tom.
Absolutely. 10 hours to be exact. Last night all the way through this morning, Sarah McIntyre was traveling from her home in Jenison down to Kentucky, banking on hitting some warmer weather to do some triathlon training. But she says when they hit about Indy, they started noticing the flakes were falling. Further south in Louisville, the snow started coming down even harder. By the time they got into Kentucky, about 9 last night, I-65, the freeway that they were on, was at a dead stop. They were told by a trucker nearby that several semis were blocking the way and a bunch of cars couldn't make it up slippery hills on the freeway. Now, Sarah and her 2 friends sat in their car with no other option but to wait.
Well, fortunately, we had almost a full tank of gas, so we were able to keep the car running most of the time to stay warm. And because we were coming down here for a trip with a bunch of girlfriends, we had a ton of food in the car. We didn't have a ton of water, but we had enough to get by, and we had some blankets and warm clothes and boots, and we were pretty well prepared for the weather. So we chatted for the first few hours and then tried to get a little bit of sleep and fight.
Long time in a car there. Sarah and her crew finally got moving about 7 o'clock this morning and made it to their destination at about noon today. She says if you're thinking about heading south, the roads down there are still really bad. And Kyle has more on that part of the story. Kyle.
Tom, here's the good news. This storm is finally starting to wind down. I was looking at some of the snowfall reports. Lexington, Kentucky, the National Weather Service office there, about 1 foot of snow. We had almost 2 feet in some of the higher elevation areas of Kentucky. A widespread 3 to 6 inches, though, here along the Appalachians. The last of the snow is finally pushing out. Hallelujah. This system's going to push out over the East Coast. They're still getting snow here from the District of Columbia down through Baltimore. Annapolis is getting some snow, but this storm is just about over. And I know the lady you interview has been through enough, so I'm not rubbing this in, but I just want to say this was a well-advertised storm, and if you had the Storm Team 8 app, you can actually look up the forecast for anywhere you're going. So let's put out a hypothetical. Let's say you're going to Miami for spring break next week. You can type in Miami on the Storm Team 8 app. It will give you a local forecast for that area, in addition to be able to see what's going on radar, satellite, and the local forecast back home, and Bill's blog and the latest weather video also on the Storm Team 8 apps. But if you have travel plans headed southward, as soon as this clears, big dome of high pressure coming in. That means several days of sunshine here for the eastern third of the United States.